Money is not inanimate. It is not just a piece of paper or a number on a bank screen. It carries life, a form of energy that listens and responds. Every time you touch money, whether it's a small bill or a large sum, you are sending out an invisible command, not through words, but through the rhythm of your heartbeat and the frequency of your thoughts. Some still believe money is a neutral object, neither good nor bad. But if you observe long enough, you will realize it operates like a subtle mirror, reflecting exactly the emotions and beliefs you hold when you touch it. Hold money with doubt, and it will respond by leaving quickly. Count money in a tense mood, and you will find your balance mysteriously diminishing. Make a purchase with guilt or fear, and you are sending out a signal that invites scarcity to draw near. Money reacts swiftly, not because it is intelligent in a physical sense, but because it follows an unchanging principle. It always hears and responds to your dominant vibration. No matter how hard you work, if deep down you associate money with worry, it will find a way to leave so it can match that frequency. On the other hand, when you touch money with gratitude and certainty, it will receive the command to return in greater amounts. This is not magic, but energy resonance. Just like the clear tone that rings when you strike a perfectly tuned string, money resonates exactly with the vibration you send out. The world often says that to have more money you must work harder and put in more effort. That is true to a certain extent, but not enough. Because if you only use physical effort without adjusting your inner frequency, you will see money come, but not stay. Like pouring water into a leaky bucket, the more you pour, the faster it drains. Money does not just hear the words you speak aloud, it also hears the silent ones in your mind. Every time you think, "I don't have enough," or "money is too hard to earn," you are unintentionally sending out a command for money to keep its distance. The law that governs it does not distinguish between jokes, sighs, or serious declarations. It only receives the vibration and acts accordingly. If you want money to become your companion, you must change the way you treat it from the very moment you come into contact. See every act of receiving, spending, or counting money as a short yet powerful conversation. In that moment, send a clear message. You are welcome. You will return in greater amounts. You are here to serve a good purpose. When your mind aligns with the truth that money is part of the abundant flow of the universe, it will no longer be something you chase, but a river that finds its way back to you. For money is not driven by fear or greed. It only follows the beat of your heart, and whatever message that heart sends will determine whether its flow is strong or weak, near or far. Money is always listening. The question is, what are you saying to it today? Every time money leaves your hand or flows into your pocket, it is not merely a physical act. It is a ritual, a sacred moment where you place your trust, your energy, and your declaration upon the invisible altar of the universe. People often see transactions as everyday occurrences: swiping a card, signing a receipt, receiving a paycheck, paying a bill. But from the perspective of spiritual law, each of these actions is an opportunity to send a command to your financial future. In that moment, you are not merely moving material value, you are planting seeds in your own field. If you plant with fear, the seed will be weak. If you plant with certainty and faith, the seed will grow strong. This is not blind belief. It is the mechanism of energy. Money responds to the vibration you emit when you transact. Silence during a transaction does not mean neutrality. In the world of spiritual law, silence is often seen as tacit agreement with the vibrations around you. If you do not consciously bless the money as it passes through your hands, vibrations of fear, scarcity, or doubt from the environment can slip in, becoming the command for your money flow. Remember, every bill you pay, every amount you send out, is proof that you are participating in the flow of provision. Instead of thinking, "My money just left," think, "I have just circulated energy so it can return greater." How you define that moment will determine the response you receive. You can turn every transaction into a powerful proclamation. When giving money to someone, silently say, "This amount is blessed and will return multiplied under grace and in the perfect way." When receiving money, thank it and affirm, "You are welcome here. You will multiply in my hands." The key is the presence of your mind. Do not let habit make you exchange money unconsciously. When the mind is present, you can place clear energy and intention into the act. A transaction then ceases to be a mechanical motion and becomes a ritual that strengthens the bond between you and the infinite supply. Just as a priest holds the chalice with reverence, hold the money, or touch the numbers in your account with the same respect, not because you are worshiping money, but because you honor the principle that creates its circulation and multiplication. An altar does not need to be built of wood or stone. It is built within your mind and words. And every transaction is a moment when you step up to that altar, offering your vibration to the law of the universe. When that vibration is trust, gratitude, and affirmation, that altar becomes a doorway to increase. Money does not distinguish between an electric bill and a gift you give someone. It only responds to the story you tell in the moment of exchange. So tell the story that makes it want to return, bringing new friends along. Every time you touch money, you are in a moment of power, a moment where your words can either expand or restrict your financial flow. It is the point where your mind, emotions, and energy must unite into one clear command. And that command is not a plea nor a sigh, but a sacred decree, issued from the absolute certainty that money will multiply. Spiritual law does not respond to faint hope, it only responds to knowing, the calm assurance that what you say is the truth already unfolding. When you speak as one who knows, your tone, rhythm, and energy are different. Your voice is steady, your breath even, each word filled with affirmation. Money hears this and responds accordingly. A sacred decree does not need to be long, but it must carry three elements: its sacred nature, the vibration of creation, and a decisive close. One example could be, "This money is sacred substance. It cannot be exhausted. I bless it and see it multiply under grace and in the perfect way." When you speak this, do not simply recite it like a formula. Let each word pass through deep breaths. Let your body feel its meaning, and let your mind picture money flowing back to you through unexpected channels. Repeat it slowly, as a king issuing a royal decree, or a priest consecrating an offering. The key is to maintain the awareness that you are commanding money, not begging it. A true command holds no doubt. If there is doubt in your heart, pause, take a deep breath, and reset your state before speaking. Every time you touch money and speak in mixed vibrations, you are sending a conflicting signal, and the law will respond with patchy results. Remember, money is not drawn to desperation, but to trust. It follows the one in authority, not the one pleading. When you exchange money with a sacred decree, you affirm your role as the steward, not the victim. Apply this decree in every situation: when receiving your paycheck, paying bills, giving, finding a coin on the street, or swiping your card for a purchase. No act is too small to matter. Every moment is a chance to imprint the signal of wealth into your subconscious and into the flow of the universe. When the sacred decree becomes second nature, you will notice a subtle yet powerful shift. The fear of spending disappears, the joy of receiving grows, and a steady sense of security replaces constant worry. Money will no longer come and go like a passing guest, but will stay, multiply, and return to you like a trusted companion. Because every time it leaves your hand, it carries the imprint of the decree you gave, a mark that compels it to return with more than it received. Money is not just a means of exchange, it is the tangible form of an endless supply flowing throughout the universe. When you see money as something separate from spirit, you unintentionally strip it of its power. But when you recognize its sacred nature, you unlock a flow that can never run dry. This supply is not created by banks, is not dependent on the economy, and is certainly not limited by your personal circumstances. It originates from the same principle that created life, that placed breath in your lungs, that has sustained the entire planet without interruption. Money, from a spiritual perspective, is merely the material copy of that infinite abundance. When you see money as sacred substance, you no longer fear losing it, nor do you chase after it at any cost. Instead, you understand it as part of a continuous flow, like your breath, out then in, coming and going, yet its source never depletes. You cannot hold your breath to survive, and you cannot cling to money out of fear to become wealthy. Money reflects your consciousness. If you believe it is scarce, it will contract to match that belief. If you believe it is plentiful and always available for the right purposes, it will find ways to expand its presence in your life. The difference lies not in the balance of your account, but in the lens through which you view it. So instead of asking, "How do I earn money?" ask yourself, "Through what light am I viewing money?" When your perspective changes, your vibration changes, and when your vibration changes, spiritual law immediately rearranges circumstances to reflect the new truth. This does not mean you sit still and wait. It means you act from a state of knowing your supply is already secured, rather than from fear of not having enough. This difference in state is the key. One creates attraction, the other creates resistance. Every time you see money, remind yourself, this is the physical evidence of an invisible reality at work. See it as a signal that the flow of supply is moving, and know that your only task is to keep that flow going through faith, gratitude, and conscious use. When you spend money with trust, it carries the imprint of abundance and will return multiplied. When you receive money with gratitude, you affirm to the universe that you are a worthy channel to continue receiving. This relationship is not a one-time exchange, but a sacred cycle where you are both receiver and transmitter. Money is the form of infinite supply, but for it to truly act as such, you must view it through the lens of spiritual law, not through the lens of fear. When you honor its sacred nature, you will see that money never truly leaves you. It is simply moving so it can return, bringing more than what it took. Every financial reality you are living today carries the imprint of what you have spoken, both the statements you've made openly to others and the silent words only you have heard. Each statement is a mold, and money simply pours into that mold to take shape. If the mold is distorted, the outcome will be flawed. If the mold is solid, the result will be perfect. Words do more than convey thoughts. They carry the energy that shapes form. When you repeat a statement often enough, the subconscious accepts it as truth and begins to adjust your behavior, emotions, and even opportunities to align with that truth. This is why those who frequently say, "Money is hard to earn," constantly encounter situations that reinforce that belief. While those who declare, "Money comes to me easily," keep finding new streams of income. The danger is that most of us use words unconsciously. We complain, joke, or casually make negative remarks about money without realizing we've just issued a command to our financial future. Spiritual law does not distinguish between serious words and playful ones. It only registers the vibration and carries it out. Even a sentence like, "I'm always broke," when said in laughter, still plants the pattern of lack. To change your financial reality, you must first change the mold your words are creating. Start by observing your language every time you speak about money. Whenever you are about to utter something negative, stop, take a deep breath, and replace it with a positive affirmation you can genuinely believe. For example, instead of saying, "I never have enough money," say, "I am opening more streams of income every day." How you speak matters as much as what you say. A weak, hesitant affirmation spoken in doubt will struggle to imprint on the subconscious. In contrast, a statement delivered with a steady rhythm, clear tone, and controlled breath carries the force of a command. When you speak, let your body and emotions join in. Picture money flowing toward you. Feel the relief and joy, and say the affirmation as if it were already a fact. Turn these affirmations into a daily ritual. Repeat them in the morning as you begin work, at night before sleeping, and especially during every financial transaction. Over time, you will see that words are not fleeting sounds. They are the architects of your material life. And when the mold is correct, you won't need to force or chase money. It will naturally seek you out to fill the mold you've created, then flow forth in the most fitting forms. The power lies here. You hold the authority to choose the mold's shape through every word you speak. Money is always listening, and your words, when used with wisdom and certainty, become the sturdy mold into which it pours, forming a financial reality that is abundant, stable, and ever-expanding. Not all scarcity stems from a lack of skills or opportunities. Often the root lies in the curses you've unintentionally cast upon yourself through repeated words and thoughts. These are the complaints, jokes, or sighs about money that seem harmless, but become silent commands to your subconscious and to the law of operation. When you say, "Money never stays with me," or "I'm always broke," you're not just describing the present, you're programming the future to align with those words. Spiritual law does not check whether you truly want that, nor does it distinguish between joking and seriousness. It only registers the vibration and carries it out precisely. Negative statements about money are like bad seeds sown into the soil of the subconscious. Once they take root, they sprout into habits, decisions, and circumstances, causing you to repeatedly fall into the same financial patterns, even when you've tried to change things on the outside. To break this curse, you need 2 steps: cancel and replace. The first step is to cancel every negative statement you've ever spoken. Say clearly and decisively, "Every word I have ever spoken about lack is erased and nullified right now. I replace them with the truth of prosperity." In making this declaration, you are closing the old door and ending the impact of false commands. The second step is to replace them with positive affirmations, strong enough to rebuild the foundation. Do not recite lofty lines you don't believe. Choose statements that bring peace to your heart and meet no resistance in your mind. For example, "Money comes to me from many sources, in peace and in the perfect way." Repeat it consistently until it becomes a natural reflex. More importantly, stay alert to moments of unconsciousness. When paying bills, don't let out a sigh. When you hear others talk about prices, don't chime in with complaints. Each reaction like that is a small fragment of a curse forming itself. Instead, turn every money situation into a chance to bless it. Remember, the curse does not exist as some supernatural force outside of you. It lives in the very words and beliefs you nourish, and only you have the authority to dissolve it. When you keep your mouth and mind within the boundaries of positive speech, you not only protect your money flow from negative commands, you also open the path to increase. Money doesn't mock, and it doesn't analyze subtext. It only listens and responds. So let everything you say about it be a blessing, so that from today onward, no curse can bind your financial future. There are 2 moments each day when your mind is most open to receiving and imprinting messages: right before you fall asleep and immediately upon waking. These are the gateways to the subconscious, the periods when every word you speak, every image you imagine, goes straight into the deeper layers without being blocked by the defenses of the rational mind. At night, just before drifting into sleep, your brain shifts into a slower, softer state. What you think and say at this time becomes a whisper that continues to echo throughout your sleep, shaping your emotions and actions for the next day. If you carry worries about money into bed, you are programming the next day to begin in fear and scarcity. But if you plant a powerful affirmation in that moment, you are allowing the subconscious to cultivate a wealthy reality. One command you can use: I draw from the abundant source within and see wealth on the outside. Every dollar I touch is blessed and multiplies under grace and in the perfect way. Speak it slowly, let your breath set the pace, and vividly picture money flowing into your life through unexpected yet harmonious channels. In the morning, as soon as you wake, your mind is still in a receptive state. This is the perfect time to reinforce the seed you planted the night before. Before touching your phone or getting swept into the news, repeat the same affirmation with fresh energy. Feel the certainty that your supply is already prepared and that you are stepping into a day surrounded by prosperity. What gives this double rhythm its power is consistent repetition. Just like watering a plant, you cannot do it once and expect results. Spiritual law works according to rhythm and persistence. Each morning and night, you are calibrating your vibration, ensuring it remains at the exact frequency that attracts wealth. Do not reduce this ritual to something rushed or mechanical. Let it be a moment of full presence, setting aside outer distractions to connect with the infinite flow within. When your words, mental images, and emotions merge together, you will feel a steady peace, a sign the message has been deeply rooted in your subconscious. Over time, you will notice the difference. Financial worries lessen, unexpected opportunities appear, and you respond to money with confidence instead of fear. Because every morning and every night, you have been deliberately guiding your own story rather than letting circumstances write it for you. Money responds fastest when you speak to it, at the moments it can hear you most clearly. And no times are more effective than when you are about to fall asleep and when you first greet the day. Guard this double rhythm as an unshakable ritual, and you will find yourself stepping into an unstoppable cycle of prosperity. Many people do not realize that the biggest barrier keeping them from reaching prosperity is not a lack of opportunity, but the silent guilt they feel when thinking about having a lot of money. They have been taught, sometimes by family, sometimes by society, that wanting more is greed, that wealth is selfish, that having more means taking away from someone else. These beliefs are not only false, but they are in complete opposition to spiritual law. In the nature of the universe, supply is infinite. Your wealth does not make others poor, just as the light of one candle does not diminish the light of another. When you prosper with integrity, you become living proof of the power of the law, and that very prosperity expands your ability to help, to give, and to create value. Guilt is the energy that locks every channel of provision. You can affirm wealth hundreds of times a day, but if deep inside you still believe that you are undeserving or shouldn't have more, every word will be nullified at the door of the subconscious. Money does not leave you out of disdain. It leaves because you unconsciously reject it. Releasing guilt is not about convincing yourself that you are worthy by the world's standards, but about returning to the spiritual truth. You are inherently part of the infinite supply, and receiving is your natural right. Replace self-sabotaging questions like, "Who am I to be rich?" with powerful affirmations. "I am a channel of abundance. My wealth benefits all." When you believe that your prosperity is a shared blessing, guilt loses its grip. You will see that receiving more is not only right but necessary for you to fully carry out your role in this life. A person in lack can hardly help others sustainably, but a person who is full, in spirit and in material resources, can become a source of nourishment for many. Ask yourself, does this guilt come from truth or from beliefs passed down through generations that tied money to greed and competition? When you recognize it as merely the residue of collective fear, you will see that you have both the right and the responsibility to break it. Wealth is not the opposite of morality. Wealth only becomes a problem when it is separated from good purpose. But in the hands of a righteous soul, money is a tool to expand light, knowledge, and opportunity. Stop apologizing for your prosperity. Let it be proof that spiritual law works precisely and fairly. From today on, when you think of wealth, remember, it is not possession, but circulation at a higher level. And the more you allow yourself to receive, the more you are able to give. Wealth, in truth, has never been a burden, unless you turn it into chains through guilt. Free yourself from those chains, and you will find money coming to you like a loyal friend, not a stranger to be approached with caution.